Hey guys, what's up? Shadowlands back for another commentary. Today I wanted to go over what you can do when you have no NX and no GP. It's becoming a very common problem, and it's the main reason that I was not very happy with the update that we had back in like June, July this year during the summer. But here's some ideas that you can do when you are flat broke. You have nothing on you. You can't afford to buy an X because you have no job, and you can't afford to use GP stuff because you don't have enough time to play the game. So that's the problem a lot of students these days have, and since that consists of pretty much most of the game's, player base, it's kind of a problem. So here we go without any further ado. First of all, some game modes you can play. Arms race. Everyone is given the same general weapons, and it's a fairly level playing field. Oil Rig and Junk Fleet are great maps to do this on, and you get EXP and GP quickly and legitimately. It's not power leveling for GP, if you want to call it that. You're just grinding, and that's all you're doing. You're playing the game properly, and you're not going to get in trouble for it. Next up is actually one that I'm not quite fond of myself. I think Fireteam is fun, but you should play that if you want to get GP. It's kind of boring, not going to lie, because you're going to do the same stuff over and over. You can pick up weapons mid-game if you're playing Cabin Fever or Black Lung, so you don't have to worry about fighting other people as much as well. You can pick up their weapons, you can pick up the weapons the map gives you itself, so there's all that. It really will get boring over time. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that, but you can try different games within Fireteam because they have like 5 or 6 different ones now, I think. But next up, play Blood Money. This one's actually fun. It's like a more fun version of the Fireteam one if you ask me. Killing the bots are much easier than people and still counts as kills, so your KDR won't go down as fast. What's more, since the map is so camp heavy, it is super easy to pick up other people's weapons and use them. People are going to camp behind the car right next to where your spawn is, shoot people, get killed, and you can run over, pick up their weapon, and go use that. You'll probably even get to use some guns you've never tried before, since a lot of people are going to be using some of those super rare assault rifles and snipers, because since it's longer range, they're going to have better damage drop-off than the crappy GP ones, so there's that too. Next is just a kind of a tip that I have for myself. Never let your GP drop below a certain amount. Now, if you're low on GP, 40k is about a good place to start. Never let it drop below there, because if there's some sale that goes on or something you want to have GP to use, I highly suggest you hang on to at least 40k and treat that like you have 0. Don't spend below that. This is a critical level of GP that allows flexibility in times of need, but it's a low enough amount that it's easily attainable with the rest of these tricks that I'm about to go on and teach you guys. Next, change your playstyle. This is probably the hardest thing to do. Put your sensitivity lower than you would think you need it and start camping. Make your shots count and focus on tap firing. Headshots are your best friend, especially if you're really stuck with that M16. This will make it easier to use weapons that aren't as good as some others. Even the TAR series can at least tap fire a couple of shots before you get recoil, and that will help you still get kills despite being outclassed in terms of what weapon you have available. Next, pick maps that don't rely on the type of gun you have. Snow Valley, for example, is very sniper heavy, so try to avoid that. Same with Kill Creek. Junk Flea is very SMG heavy and maybe even shotguns occasionally, so it might not be a good choice either. Maps like Short Fuse and even the new map, Hell Gate, are easy to play with most weapons because you can excel with even an M16 if you aim right and you pick heads carefully by camping and then, aiming for headshots with a low sensitivity, making your shots count like I said earlier. Next up, put a scope on your pistol. This sounds completely random, I realize that, but scopes are super cheap and can let you aim headshots with almost any pistol, even if you have an M92FS. To be honest, I would personally take a scoped M92FS over an M16 simply due to the accuracy and damage. You may have lower amounts of ammo and you may not be able to fire as fast, but if you can make those shots count, they're accurate with the scope, and you can get enough accuracy at range to be able to get a headshot, and it's always cool to be able to say, hey, I got a headshot one click with a pistol. Always fun to say. Next up, do not worry about speed gear. Don't spend money on speed gear. It costs a ridiculous amount these days. If you're focusing on camping anyways, it's more important to be able to tank shots than to be able to run anyway. Since a lot of people use speed gear these days, they die faster than people who don't have speed gear. And even people with medium vests get called tankers because they don't have speed gear on. And people just expect others to have speed gear. And if you don't have speed gear, they're going to fire a certain amount of shots at you. And unless it's a sniper shot that they're shooting at you, you're going to tank those extra few shots that they will not tank when you're tap firing and landing all your shots perfectly on them. So that may sound a little bit weird, but do not spend money on speed. Finally, my last tip is to play games that are more time intensive rather than speed intensive. GP and EXP are gained faster when you play longer games because the amount of GP per the time that you are playing the game grows exponentially, not linearly. 10 minutes per game is the sweet spot where you spend the perfect amount of time playing the game, preferably Elim or Elim Pro, and still get around 700 to 1,000 GP per match. And you don't need to make it an 140-point game. Just leave it at 100 points and make the Elim Pro thing go for like 7 rounds or whatever. And as long as the teams are horribly stacked, they should go for approximately 8 to 10 minutes, and you're going to get that sweet spot of GP about at 700 to 1,000. Because you don't want to play a super long match, or else the amount of time you're spending isn't really worth the amount of GP that you're getting. And if you play too little, you're just going to get like 50 GP, and that's not going to be worth anything at all. There used to be a strategy where you could like jump into a game really fast, wait for it to end, and only spend like a minute in game and still get a ton of money. So you can't do that anymore with the new balancing system. But now you just want to spend the right amount of time in game, and 8 to 10 minutes seems to be that sweet spot. 10 minutes is better. After that, it starts to drop off a bit, and it's a little bit more of a waste of your time. But that's about all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Shadowlance out.
Round start.